Hello, everybody. How are you? Hope you're having a good night. It is really late over here. It's after 12, and I'm still up, and I got just enough energy for one more react. So I was on YouTube earlier watching Chantal's Twitch stream through Orange Cat, just taking note of what was going on. What happened during the Twitch stream? Well, I think it's safe to say that even though Chantal is officially out of her edibles, which I don't think she can get more of because they're very expensive, and right now she doesn't have the money to buy more, she was on something else during the stream. What the something else is, I cannot say. It could be any number of things, but whatever it was, I'm guessing that it would be of a stimulant variety. Why was I saying that? Why am I saying that now? Because her face was beet red, which might be an indicator of high blood pressure. She was excessively sweating. She complained about being hot. And keep in mind, it's in Canada. It's winter. It is fairly cold outside. She has an air conditioner in her house. So why is she sweating like that? So there was that. She was also very jittery, kind of like a dry mouth. She couldn't sit still. So what exactly were you on, Foodie? Was it diet pills? Was it something of a stimulant variety? I'm not exactly sure, but you definitely weren't sober. You were jittery and agitated all at the same time. Now, drawing from the past, seeing Foodie like that, it has to be of a stimulant variety. Maybe it isn't the Coca-Cola that she used to do, but it felt like stimulant in a lot of it. So she did the live stream and she was talking about, I'm in recovery. At the same time, she was obviously high on something, which is crazy work. Saying that you're recovered at the same time you're high. So she did the stream, but she also did a stream for Patreon. You know, the same platform that she got banned on. Yeah, that one. So she did a stream. She thought it was private, but it wasn't private. It wasn't locked until somebody told her, hey, it's not private. And she locked it. But by then, pretty much everybody had seen it. And that's what I'm going to react to, her stream. Because there were some tidbits of information there that were quite interesting regarding the edibles and her and Salah. And that's why I'm here, to react to the stream and to give my thoughts on it and to share a few things that I found on Twitter. So this is not going to be a long react. It might be a bit shorter in nature, but that's okay. It's really late and I want to get to bed with Queen Booger. So you guys know what time it is. It is time for the Twitter peeps. All right, it's time for the peeps. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I am waiting until Tuesday because I got a feeling that Tuesday is going to be very, very interesting. Or maybe it's even Monday, the day that she gets paid. Because when she finally figures out that she's not going to get her YouTube check, we're going to get the mother of all meltdowns. Until then, all of this beforehand, it's just the calm before the storm. So let me just go ahead and pull up Twitter. Let me make sure that I am where I need to be. No, I'm not. And I'm glad that I checked beforehand because that would have been awkward. All right. So for those of you that are on Twitter that you'd like to follow me on Twitter, there's my handle, Wild Girl Sarah. And for those of you not on Twitter, that's why I do the peeps, so you guys can keep up with all the stuff without actually having to be on Twitter. And let me just check one more thing. I want to make sure that my microphone is the right one. because, sometimes StreamYard likes to mess me up. It is. We're good to go. Perfect. All right. So Debbie's World says $4.41 a month. What's going on here, Foodie? So this is the Patreon, and she's asking people to pay her $40.41 a month. Huh? What? Is your content worth $40.41? I don't know. I guess that's subjective. I wouldn't agree that it is, but maybe other people would disagree. Queen Jellybean says $40.41. You can't get people to buy $5 Twitch subscriptions or cameos, but you think somebody is going to pay $40 to hear you pretend to be on another spiritual awakening and a health journey for a week? This is another example of why you're a failure at life. Yeah, and how long exactly is she going to be on this journey? Until she gets some money to buy the edibles? So set up a Patreon, encourage people to buy a subscription to Patreon, and then what? You get the money, it's in your hand, and then at any time you can cancel the Patreon or just let it go and not post a single thing. In the meantime, you encourage people to sign up. That is so Chantal coded. That's exactly what she did with her OnlyHands account. That's what she did for Twitch. So I'm sure Patreon is going to be the exact same way until it's taken away. Unicorn Pondu says some of the deleted comments before she disabled them. Here's what people were saying about her Patreon video. Elle says, this is a whole lot of BS, word vomit, and misinformation. You have zero right to be discussing this as though you've quit. Yeah, like I said, to do the video that she did for Patreon talking about recovery and I'm over the hill with my rug addiction at the same time she's high, that's just crazy work. A says, Chantal, you're spreading medical misinformation like always. Anxiety and depression have nothing to do with gut health. You're making this up and again using TikTok as a doctor. Log off and go seek professional help. Your lack of control of consuming rugs is not the rug's fault. It's your fault. Seek professional help. Another person says, I thought you were banned from Patreon twice. Another one says, too broke to afford edibles and quitting edibles are not the same, girl. I agree. Being too broke to afford something, but actually quitting, those are two different animals. Quitting and being sober off of said thing is not the same as I can't afford to buy it right now. Because I can't afford to buy it right now can always turn into, once I get the money, I'll buy it again, which means I'm not really stopping. I'm just stopping for now. But at some point, I'm going to pick up and continue where I left off. And I'll probably get even worse because, she's been away for a while. She's going to end up doing too much again. What else do we have here? Kristen says, fun fact, patreon.com Foodie for Thought is actually the 5th Patreon account Chantal has had over the years. Dell isn't the only one with spreadsheets. Huh. So this is like, what, the 5th one? Oh my. So this, Chantal, you've got a habit of going back to Patreon when it suits you, I see. Oh, all right. Rubber Band says, I agree with everyone else. Foodie Beauty is manic and has to be on something or she ran out of her medications. That whole Patreon video was pointless. She forgets we've all seen her on edibles. She was never alert or anxious. She could barely function. Yeah, so what exactly are you taking, Chantal? Are you switching your addiction from one thing to another thing? By the way, y'all, That is something that I remember Chantal doing back during Cracket Olympics. I remember whatever it is she did, that she would do too much and then chase her tolerance all the way up to the ceiling, to the point where she couldn't get high off of that thing anymore. Once that happened, she would flip over to something else, wait for the tolerance of substance one to back off so she could go back to it and keep doing it. Like just trading one addiction for another addiction, one substance for another substance, just so she could do a substance rather than just wean off of everything. Yeah, I remember her doing that many times over. And if you want to know what Chantal looked like during the Twitch stream, here's some pictures. So there's Chantal. Her face was beet red. And as you can see, she is shiny. She's sweating and it's cold outside. It's winter. She's got AC in her house. Why is she sweating like that? Like it's deep summer and she has no AC in her house. What's causing her to overheat? That's not normal for her. Yep, shiny AF. But I'm not on anything, guys. I'm sober. I'm detoxing. Yeah, okay. The tone knob says Foodie Beauty is so disconnected from reality at the moment. She either did some stuff or took some Adderall and is beet red, sweating and rambling with sudden bursts of rage mixed in throughout this stream. She has big plans for her Patreon that will probably be gone very soon. Well, I said, I don't know what she's doing. It could be over the counter stuff. It could be other stuff. I don't know. But whatever it was affecting her outwardly to the point where you could tell. She was jittery. She was very hyper, ragey, cotton mouth, pupils dilated, beet red, sweating like crazy. Her blood pressure must have been through the roof. Crochet with Ashmay says the divorce was sad because she lost the validation that Salah gave her. At least she admitted it. It wasn't sad because she misses anything about Salah. So here's a piece from the video. Let's watch.
So much pain that I couldn't bear to feel it. Pain from, and you're probably thinking from the divorce. But the divorce was not only about being away from Salah. That was not what was so sad. What was sad is me being left alone with all of these things that I was relying on Salah for validation for. And that's what I was sad for. I'm sad for validation and for having to finally look into the void of myself that I've been avoiding. And I'm starting to look into it and I'm starting to really take it.
Wow, that's a lot from Chantal. Her saying that, admitting outwardly that part of the marriage was about validation, that she was using as a man for validation. I wish you would have gone further with that. What kind of validation, Chantal? Were you thinking that if I'm with a man, I have value? And if I'm not with anybody, I have no value? I mean, that would track with you because you kind of do think that way, that if you're a single person, you have no value. You have value only if you're in a relationship. But let's go over this one more time because I need to get my thoughts together.
In so much pain that I couldn't bear to feel it. Pain from, and you're probably thinking from the divorce. But the divorce was not only about being away from Salah. That was not what was so sad. What was sad is me being left alone with all of these things that I was relying on Salah for validation for.
So you're basically saying that you were sad that you weren't with Salah anymore. But the greater sad, the greater pain was he wasn't around to validate you. And it also sounds like you were using Salah as a distraction from all of your issues. Like as long as he was around, he was a distraction from everything that was wrong. Like all of your inner issues, outer issues, maybe mental issues, emotional issues. You need someone around, or you've been using other people to kind of like sidestep the issues rather than sit down, have dinner with them, discuss things with them, and solve them. Chantal, do you understand how exhausting that is? That if you are someone that you're broken, you're clingy, you're jealous, you're insecure, you've got issues up the wazoo, and you cling so hard onto another person that they cannot breathe, they cannot live, they cannot move, they cannot speak. You're insisting that the other person not live and just live for you and be your constant distraction from dealing with yourself. Do you know how draining that is? You know, there's a thing called the Chantal effect. And the Chantal effect is you can see it on every guy you've ever been with. Every guy that you're around, they start off looking somewhat normal, and then after a while, they get this dead look in the eyes, like they're not even there. You suck the living soul out of somebody, and they don't start to look happy again and alive again until they're away from you. You suck somebody's life force away from them because you ask too much. And here's the crazy thing. You expect someone to live their life being your distraction, being your validation. You want them to be happy, to be as empty as you. At the same time, while this is going on, you're not happy. So they're just supposed to sit there and be there for you, and I guess make you happy. At the same time, you're not happy no matter what. But please go ahead.
And that's what I was sad for. I'm sad for validation and for
So you weren't really sad about the marriage. I'm losing my partner. This is emotionally sad. You were basically selfish minded and just thinking about yourself. Oh, I'm sad because I can't control Salah and he won't be there for me, and I can't treat him like a servant and hold tightly to him and keep him from living his life. So your sadness really wasn't because you were in love with somebody, they were in love with you, you guys had a bond, you had a partnership, and suddenly it's over. No, it's about, oh, I've lost control of somebody and I can't treat them like a puppet and force them to stay next to me. I have to go home and be an adult.
keep, having to finally look into the void of myself that I've been avoiding. And I'm starting to look into it, and I'm starting to
You know what? The thing is, though, you're starting to look into it. You ran out of edibles a few days ago. You said that in this video. And you've also confessed that right now you can't even think straight, which I believe. You can't even think straight. So if you're not in a place of mental, emotional calm, how can you look deep into that void, into that darkness and see what's in there and how to fix it. If your mind is scattered and it's all over the place, you got those mad, crazy monkeys running around in your brain, bouncing off the walls. Your thoughts are everywhere. How can you look deep into that void? How can you look into the abyss that is your soul and see why it's an abyss and how to fill it up? I don't know if you can right now, especially if you are getting high off something else. That's just my opinion. Okay. All right. So we didn't have much in the way of Twitter peeps tonight because, Chantal's been going live, but there's really not a whole lot of interesting things for right now. But we're going to go over the video on Patreon. And where is my background? Let me just fix that real quick. Doggone it, StreamYard. Don't do that to me. Okay. Let me just blow this. Okay, shut up. I'm not ready for you yet, Foodie. There we go. All right. So this is a very short video she did. That's what I'm saying. The react will not be that long for this. But you guys are going to be able to tell as she's doing this video, like clearly she's not sober. This is not sober Chantal. Her pupils are dilated. She keeps messing around with her nose. A couple of streams back, she confesses she's getting nosebleeds again. So I have to ask the question, Chantal, are you crushing up some pills or something and shoving them up your nose? Like, I don't know exactly what you're doing, but this is not sober you. That much I do know. So let's just go ahead and get started with this.
I guess I should say subscribing to my Patreon. I feel like I just need like a safe space on the internet to be able to express myself through this arduous journey. Like, of course, viewers looking in, people watching your journey, of course, they'll never truly understand what you're going through unless they walk in your shoes. But I'm going to try my best to try to help you understand, or basically just use this as like a diary because I need an outlet. And yes, therapy is for that as well. But 1 hour a week is not really enough to say what I want to say. And I have people who are already, invested in my journey. So,
it's really weird how during the Twitch stream, she was burning up, face beet red, complaining that she was hot. Yet look at her here. She got the horse blanket on. She's got long sleeve shirts. So how do we go from I got the horse blanket on, long sleeve shirt to I am like burning up and fanning myself while I'm indoors and it's winter outside?
I just thought it would be a good idea since, I don't feel comfortable monetizing this journey of recovery on YouTube.
You're not in recovery. And I think you claiming recovery, it is an insult to those who've actually done the work. They've gone to therapy. They've talked to people. They've gone to meetings. They put the work in. They fought for their recovery. Coming online and talking about recovery while you're high, that is just crazy work. Doing a video like this when your pupils are blasted and you're clearly under the influence of something that is just as another level of insanity I can't even describe. But please don't use the word recovery, because in this video, you're going to say, well, I ran out of edibles 3 days ago. So running out of something and being dry from it does not equal recovery. It just means you're out for now, and at some point you may get more.
Or on Twitch, because my YouTube channel was demonetized recently on YouTube for um discussing eating disorder content. And I understand that.
No. Back it up. If you're going to do a video like this, Chantal, tell the truth. Tell the whole truth. Don't just leave half of something out. Go all the way. You want to talk about recovery, right? You want to claim recovery. But part of recovery is accountability. Holding yourself accountable. You're not doing it here. We're not even 2 minutes into the video. And you're saying, oh, YouTube demonetized you just because you talked about your BED. And that's an absolute lie. It would not have been a problem on YouTube if you did informational and educational videos talking about your food problem and left it at that. But you went a lot further than that. You were doing the Foodie content. You were talking about BED, and in the same video, eating food. You did a lot of videos with the B word in the title. You were doing the mukbangs and putting BED recovery in the tags. So if you're going to do a video like this, let's do it right. Do it all the way right. Or don't do it at all. Because people are going to call you out for your BS. And they're not going to stop as long as this continues.
I'm not bitter about it. I get it. And I can totally understand, their point of view as well. And it is what it is. I'm moving on with it. But I do want to have a place where I can earn some income as well as share my story, and maybe, it can relate with other people. And yeah, we can bounce comments off of one another. We can maybe start a little community of support. I don't know. Anyways, I don't feel comfortable talking in detail, like gnarly details about what it's like to withdraw from cannabis, for example, or withdraw from being married or stuff like that. So it's just like my personal thoughts that I'm going to talk about on here, and I'm just going to have one base fee.
Look at her. She can hardly keep still. She's just so fidgety, messing with her sleeve and all that. Girl, you get any more jittery, you're going to fall off the couch.
Per month. So as you can see, I'm all cozy. I'm like self-soothing right now. I know it doesn't look it. My hair is awful, but I did, wake up and had a shower. So basically, like, just to rewind, 3 nights ago, let me just get the exact date, because then we'll be able to keep track of how long I've been sober.
You're not sober. You're not sober right now. Dilated pupils. The stream you did on Twitch, something was obviously going on. Face beet red, sweating. You were all over the place. What did you take, Chantal? What were you on? That's not sober. Just because you weren't taking the edibles doesn't mean you weren't under the influence of something else to replace the edibles, which I think you did. Because you've done it in the past. If you can't get at one thing, you'll do another thing. And obviously, whatever it is you did tonight, it must have been a lot or a very powerful amount, because of the fact that your face was beet red and you were sweating. And you had cotton mouth. And you were agitated. So what was it?
when was it exactly? It was, sorry about that. I also don't really want to edit much on here. I just don't really, I don't mind editing. It's just like when I'm talking about my thoughts, it's like I'm listening to them while I'm telling you them. I don't want to have to like re-listen again and everything. Like especially if it's like a longer talk video. I'm gonna be playing fetch with my cat because, anyways. The 15th of December, I bought my last pack of edibles, and
Okay, so let's keep in mind, she said the 15th of December, I bought my last pack of edibles. So as we remember, she was into the Mike Tyson edibles. Those are pretty doggone powerful. Those are 5,000 milligram edibles. And you don't have to take an entire edible. You can break off little pieces and, So that was, let's see, 15th. That would be 6 days ago for a bag of edibles like that.
by the way, if you guys find any of this triggering, please, like triggering for addiction or anything like that, mental health, please protect yourself. Don't watch. I will put a warning before my content as well, but so this is my personal experience. I'm not in any way here to glorify or make light of addiction. I'm here to sort of educate, I guess, through my personal experience of
Educating people while she's high. And are you in a position to teach anybody anything, Foodie? You think that you're in a position to teach people about addiction and recovery. At the same time, you're not on top of your addictions and you're not recovered either. And you've got many addictions. You've got an addiction for food. Are you on top of that? Are you in recovery for that? No. Are you in recovery for abusing substances? No, because you're still using them. You've got an addiction for men. You've got an addiction for attention. Got an addiction for money. Are any of those in any kind of recovery? Have you been in recovery for any of those for any significant period of time? No. So if the answer is no all the way across the board, why do you feel that you are in a position that you can teach people when you have yet to learn and put things into practice?
what I'm going through, my story. And so basically I've been I'm an addict. It doesn't matter the substance when you're an addict. It doesn't really matter because there's transfer of addiction.
Yeah, and I think that might be what you're doing right now. You're transferring your addiction for one thing onto another thing to avoid what, the withdrawals of the first thing that come down. I don't know. So you're doing one thing does not cancel out the addiction for something else. You're just adding something on top of it.
Everyone has a substance they prefer, but then the substance doesn't matter in addiction, and that's proof in the fact that transfer of addiction exists, right? Your brain is just looking for that dopamine, that whatever fix, it's filling that void, and whatever will do it will do, basically. So I've been just smoking weed since I'm like a teenager. I smoked my first joint when I'm 15, and basically I always loved it. I was always such a big burnout, like proud stoner, 420, smoke, and my mind has changed so much over the years. Like, especially lately, I just find that because I abuse things, like I overdo things as an addict, I was just consuming way too much. And that's the problem with marijuana these days is that it's so concentrated and over processed. If you look at the marijuana that like Bob Marley was smoking back in the day.
Oh, so what are you doing? I see what's going on here. You're trying to blame the rest of the world for your addiction, right? You're saying back in the day, it was just like the Mary Jane in natural form. Now you're saying, oh, now because of all these different products and they're much more concentrated, that's part of the problem. No, 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 no. Because there are lots of people out there that do edibles and they do them responsibly as they should be done. There are people that take edibles for health reasons, for medicinal reasons. They don't use edibles to numb themselves out all day. They take them the way that they're supposed to take them, and they get the benefits of them without going too far. And I'm going to tell you an observation of mine, Chantal. Since I've been watching you for so long, when you started your channel, you weren't about that life of showing the green products on camera. I think the first thing I remember you doing was the vape pen. And that made its appearance during your first ever live stream on New Year's Eve. Remember that? You never live streamed before. You'd always done videos. You and Pete did the New Year's Eve live stream. You had the vape pen. You also had some pizza and liquor. You streamed for 6 hours and you made a whole bunch of money. And because you made a whole bunch of money, the light bulb in your head went off and you're like, well, what in the world am I doing videos for? I can just turn on a camera and get memberships and super chats and make all kinds of money. Like it's a win-win. But, and that's what kicked off doing nothing but live streams. After that, you really didn't want to do videos because you made much more profit by doing the live streams. But going back to the original point, you were just doing the vape pen then. And then during Crack It Olympics, you were just showing off using substances. You know, you would buy the roll-ups, smoke those all day, and then you decided I needed something stronger. That's when you started doing the edibles. And you started off taking 100 milligrams, and then 100 milligrams became 200. And then 200 became 300, and then 500. And then you built up to the wheelchair edibles, which were 1,000 milligrams. And sometimes you would take 3,000 milligrams in a day of those things. And they weren't cheap. And the wheelchair edibles are really meant for people who are very, very sick or terminally ill. They're not meant to be used as a, party favor to party on. But even after a while, that wasn't enough. You moved on to something stronger. You moved on to the shatter bears, which are much stronger than the edibles. And then you got the idea to make your own, edible butter. Remember that? The little, like the edible butter maker thing. And that failed miserably because you didn't do it right. But you just kept trying to build up, trying to find something stronger. And you would reach those points rather quickly where your tolerance would get so high that you couldn't feel anything anymore. And so you'd switch to doing something else and you'd wait for your tolerance of substance one to back off so you can go back to it. You just kept flipping back and forth. You were chasing the tail of the dragon. But I remember many live streams where you would sit there and pop the edibles in your mouth like they were M&Ms, just showing off for the beezers, thinking it was cute when it wasn't cute. You would get so bombed out of your head that you could barely speak. And that's been going on for a long time.
Grown from God, praise Jah, all that kind of stuff. you have, I mean, I was getting edibles that had 10,000 milligrams in a bag. Like, I was getting super concentrated edibles. And I would just, like, I didn't want to deal with the situation of me being back in Canada, which is really weird because that proves to me that when I say I want something, I don't even know what I'm talking about half the time because I don't take into consideration what actual work has to go into getting from point A to point B.
And that is why you need inpatient. And that's why you need therapy. Honestly, are you in a position where you feel like you are capable of control and controlling yourself? I say no. I think you're in a position where you need to give somebody else control. You have to be in that mindset of, I know I'm out of control. I know I need help. And you got to reach out for help. You got to go to somebody and say, like, I can't control myself. The situation, it's grown past me. I need professional help. I need guidance because I can't guide myself right now. I'm driving this vehicle into a wall. But you refuse to do it because you're stubborn and you're hard-headed and you're prideful. Absolutely prideful. You're a hardcore addict. And you've got many addictions, all of which are out of control. Every single one. And all of them together has created so many problems for you. It's the same problems on repeat. And you, with all of your issues, your solution is to seek out men who don't want you, don't care about you, don't love you. You're going to walk up to these men and say, I know you're a stranger and you don't care about me, but here, I've got 1,000 pounds of emotional and mental weight. Carry it for me. Oh, and while you're carrying it, distract me from the unhappiness that I'm carrying inside and the emptiness that I'm feeling inside. Just be there for me and be my puppet and my distraction. Oh, and by the way, while this is going on, I'm going to be manipulating you and lying to you and controlling you. And you expect that other person to be happy with all that? No one would be. They're going to be miserable just like you. And they're going to reach a point with it all where they're going to run away from you because that's the only way to find freedom again. It's just a vicious, ugly, toxic cycle. Ugly. And I'm so surprised you haven't learned by now that running from something does not make it go away. All you're doing is compounding the problem or problems in your case.
I just make decisions like, okay, I'm going to do this now. But it's easy to say that, but then to do it. So when I was in Syria and I said, okay, I want to get out of here. I want to go back home. I want better internet for my social media. I miss my family. I miss my sister, my aunt, my mom. I miss fall. I miss Canada. I'm a Canadian, whatever. I miss a lot of things about Canada. But it's not easy getting out of what you're comfortable with. I was married for 3 years. My cat was there. My cat's in Syria. So it's like, I was established a bit, starting to get established, but it was too social for me. Like I just couldn't deal.
Hold up. Wait, please stop. Please stop. I was established there. No, you weren't. You're not a resident of Syria. You were not a citizen of Syria. You were essentially a tourist, a guest. And like any guest, you were expected to leave. So you were not established there. It wasn't as if you and Salah were in an actual marriage and he really loved you and didn't want you to go. He knew at some point you had to go because you were a tourist. Just because you plop yourself down in somebody's house doesn't mean that you're established there. It just means you're temporarily there. That's all that means.
With a lot of the socializing, and that's because I wasn't okay. Like, I mentally, I'm just not okay. I'm just putting off dealing with my health issues and dealing with my health issues. And that's another reason, like I need to also reestablish my healthcare here. I need to get into a good healthcare routine, self-help, blah blah blah. And number one thing, my mental health is very fragile, and
It's bad. Your mental health isn't just fragile, which I do agree with, but it's also very, very bad. I don't know the extent of your issues, Chantal. I know what you told us. You said, I've got daddy issues. I agree. You said, I've got abandonment issues. I agree with that too. I don't know what else is there, but I know it's a mess up here and it needs to be cleaned up a bit. It cleaned up a lot, actually. And I'm saying that as a person that I've got issues too. I'll be the first to admit it. But there's a difference here between me and you. Or I'm somebody that I can say, yeah, I've got issues and I can talk to somebody. You've got issues and you don't even admit them out loud. And you don't want to talk to somebody, although that would do you the most good to talk to somebody and get it all worked out.
um consuming large quantities of THC in that, and then like hitting the vape all day. You just feel like a sack of crap. You feel like a bag of flesh with bones. You don't feel like you have a soul anymore when you're numb like that. When you're numbed to that point, you're just breathing to live, because you don't want to die, but you don't want to live this way anymore. So you try to, you know,
You know what, Chantal? I would put more weight on your words if it weren't for the fact that you simply ran out of money to buy edibles. That's what made you stop. You didn't stop yourself. Your bank account stopped you. YouTube stopped you. That's what it took to make you stop using the edibles. But even now, not using the edibles, you're on something else. And again, what it is, I cannot say. I'm thinking it's more of a stimulant variant because of just the way your body is behaving. The red face, the sweating, the agitation. It's got to be of a stimulant variety, which could be anything at all. It could be a mixture of things for all I know. But as far as the edibles, it wasn't really a choice for you to stop, where you had the choice and you decided to make a better choice. It was just a money choice where you couldn't afford to spend $60, $80, $100 on a bag of edibles. So you're not in recovery. You're just simply unable to partake of something. You are dry, not by your choice, but by financial choice. You're just too broke to buy them. So what that means is when you get money at some point, the temptation to indulge again will be there. Because the addiction monster in your head is not going to stop talking to you. I mean, whispering in your mental ear. And when you get that cash in pocket, you're going to keep going. And you might indulge harder just because there was a period where you weren't able to indulge. You might be setting yourself up for a edible B moment of sorts.
cover it. You're masking your pain. And I realized that, when I first came here, I felt a lot of pain. I allowed myself to feel some of it. And I know that part of the grieving, grieving a lot of stuff. I can get into that in another video. I just wanted to talk about like my withdrawal symptoms today. So I last bought those edibles on the 15th, and I've been taking them. I ran out a couple.
Yeah, there we go. I ran out. That's what happened. I ran out of them. And I knew at some point that was going to happen. That if she ran out of money, she would run out of edibles, and then, then she'd be out of sorts. And here we are. Here we are. So she ran out. Couldn't get any more. Wasn't like she had money in pocket. And she said, nope, I'm not buying these no more. I don't like the way they make me feel. I don't like the way they take my energy away. I don't like being a vegetable all day. Nope. She's ran out of money. She's dry.
Nights ago or whatever, I don't know. And yeah, this will be like the third night that I have to sleep with no edibles. Like, because when it would come nighttime, my routine, I would take the edibles. I would take like a couple, and then I would, just pass out. Like you get so groggy and so, high that you just pass out. You munch out and you pass out, and I wouldn't wake up really. Like I would have, like, the thing is that you think that you're getting a good sleep when you're passed out on edibles, and it's actually the opposite. It actually disturbs your sleep rhythm, and it actually heavy marijuana use, actually marijuana shrinks the hippocampus over time, and it thins the gray matter in your brain. And there's more studies coming out, and I think that I'm not talking about like, recreational users. There's people who can do it very recreationally, very, very occasionally. And, as an addict, I try that so many times, and I realize how delusional that sounds. Because when you're an addict, we all know that that's just lying to yourself. You can't do that. You can't have marijuana. I would try, cutting back, and then I would crave more and more, because the thing when you're using a substance to create happiness with the dopamine, with chemicals, with forced chemical reactions, instead of like innate profound changes. And
You know what, Chantal? I'm just personal observation. I don't think you were doing the edibles to feel happy. I think you were doing them to numb yourself out. And there's a difference between doing something to feel happy and doing it to numb yourself out. Maybe if you had taken a little bit, you might have felt euphoric, happy, but you went way over the line every time. It just became about numbing yourself out. And maybe your thinking was, the more I take, the more numb that I'll be, the more I don't have to feel. How close am I? Am I pretty much there? Yeah, I think I am. So if you're numb, you're not really feeling happy, are you? Because numb means you don't feel anything. And if you're taking 3,000, 5,000 milligrams of edibles, happiness can't even walk in the door. It stopped at the door by the numbness. And that's exactly where you were.
really true happiness is that you're not going to ever be able to get enough. You're just going to keep acclimatizing to the amount, to the amount, to the amount, until you're never going to be able to get enough. You're never going to find your wholeness in a bag of edibles.
Nope. I agree with you. You can't find it. I knew someone, Chantal, that drank, and he liked his alcohol. And no matter how much he drank, no matter what it was, he never found happiness in the bottom of any bottle that he consumed. That's the thing. You think, oh, I'm going to drink this, I'm going to take this, and happiness is within that thing. No, it's not. You'll never find true happiness in any pill, syringe, bottle, powder, edible. It just doesn't exist.
And actually, it's going to be the opposite. You're going to become even more broke. Like, I don't have a steady stream of income right now. Like, I'm surviving, and I'm going through a lot of stuff. And to make it all worse, I remember people commenting, "Why are you using so much THC? It's just going to make your mental health worse." And yeah, I know, I knew that, but I couldn't stop at the time. I was just in so much pain that I couldn't bear to feel it. Um, Pain from, and you're probably thinking from the divorce, but the divorce was not only about being away from Salah. That was not what was so sad. What was sad is me being left alone with all of these things that I was relying on Salah for validation for.
So you're basically saying you can't deal with being alone, because if you're alone, there are no distractions to what you need to fix and what you need to heal. So you were using another person to basically just what, push off the problems, push off the issues and the feelings that you should have been dealing with. And that was why someone had to always be around, because they acted as a living, breathing distraction. That you got to know that's entirely unfair, Chantal, that you're requiring somebody to be there by your side to distract you. You're basically saying to that person, I know that you have a life. You had a life to live. There's things you want to do. There's places you want to go, but you can't now because I'm fixated on you. I should be living. I should be taking care of myself. I don't want to. So I'm using you as what? A living doorstop, so that I don't have to go out and live. I don't have to heal. Like you are the distraction that I need. I don't want to live. So I'm going to use you as a distraction to keep from living. And at the same time, I'm going to stop you from living as well, because, misery loves company.
And that's what I was sad for. I'm sad for validation and for um, keep having to not having to finally look into the void of myself that I've been avoiding. And I'm starting to look into it, and I'm starting to really take it step by step. And it's I'm like,
Well, Chantal, if you're coming on camera still high on something, I don't think that you're looking into the void like you say. I think you're still using something to distract from the void. Maybe you're afraid that if you look into the abyss will look back at you. And you're really avoiding that.
okay, all right, I'm just like waiting for a huge crash out. I feel constant adrenaline, like that fight or flight, like anxiety feeling, because I've always been masking my feelings. I've never just really let myself feel them. I've always consumed things, including food, like in bad ways. Anything can really be abused. Anything that triggers your pleasure response in your brain can really be abused, and that's where it's dangerous, especially for addicts. And um, it's just constant. When I don't have the edibles, though, I don't want to eat too much because you get really bad hunger when you do edibles.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, what do you want tonight? Because you're right. When you're a food addict, edibles are the last thing you should be doing, because edibles stimulate your hunger, especially with the amount that you've been taking. They'll just turn you into an eating machine. So if you got this eating problem and you take edibles, you're just supercharging it. And now you're not eating. Like you're saying, I'm not hungry. Well, I could think of only one thing that you've done that kept you away from the food. While you were doing it, you did lose weight. Although I don't recommend anybody else doing what you did. You wanted to lose weight, you tried doing the Ozempic, remember? But you didn't like the way the Ozempic made you feel, and you didn't like the fact that it interfered in your food addiction, so you stopped doing it. And then later on, you got on the Coca-Cola and you did a lot of it. And it kept you alert. You were able to live stream from 8 to 10 hours a day, every day. And because of the Coca-Cola, which is a stimulant, it made you less hungry. And because of that, you lost weight. You honestly did. You could see the difference in your face, and the ears weren't plastered to your head. You lost a little bit of weight because of the Coca-Cola. And then after you do the Coca-Cola all day, you would do the edibles to go to sleep, but it would also cause you to eat a lot. So the only time you lost weight and you didn't feel hungry was on some kind of stimulant. And considering the extremeness of your food addiction, it would just make sense that since you have an extreme food addiction, it's going to take one heck of a powerful stimulant to short circuit your thoughts of food and the urge to eat. So again, I ask you, what in the world are you doing these days? Because it's pretty intense to watch.
which is also not good. Somebody trying to, recover from an eating disorder. And I've been doing pretty good with that. Um,
Ma'am, stop. If you are using a stimulant to cut out the food, to stop the urges of food, you're not in recovery, even for that. You're using one thing to get away from another thing to fix a disorder. No, that means you're not truly healed, and that's not real recovery. You're trying to find shortcuts, but the problems still remain unchecked. Do you see the path that you're on? Oh, in order to fix a disorder with food, in order to get away from the side effects of using too many edibles, I'm going to do this other thing, which is going to lead to what? If you stop doing the thing, then the other problems are going to pop back up again. You see how that works? So nothing is really fixed, is it?
I've just been really like really just trying to like control myself, like not control myself like in the sense that you're thinking, but anyway, I'm doing a lot of mental work. I'm really doing a lot of work on myself,
How?
starting to. And
How? Watching TikTok videos, that's really not going to help. Stop going to TikTok and Dr. Google to be your doctors because you don't want to deal with real doctors and therapists. You've been doing that for years. Has anything changed? Has anything gotten better? No, not at all. It has not helped.
um I am trudging through the withdrawals, and there are withdrawal symptoms when you come off of edibles. Especially, it depends how much you were doing before, but
You are doing a lot.
I,
I mean, the amount that you do is crazy. Doing thousands and thousands and thousands of milligrams a day, and you don't have a medical reason to take that amount, it's crazy. I have a friend who has an actual situation going on with migraines, and the most he'll take a day is 60 milligrams. That's it. Has an actual medical condition. Takes less than 100. And you over there taking 3,000 milligrams, 5,000 milligrams, 10,000 milligrams. Why? That's stupid.
marijuana takes a long time to leave your body. It stores in your fat tissues, and I have a lot of those. So anyway, so they're not healthy. I don't even like how I feel on them anymore. I feel like a zombie half the time. I don't like, you guys hate how I am. I'm just like, and that's how I wanted to be. I wanted to be comfortably numb. Like Like Pink Floyd said, I don't want don't want to feel my feelings, and that's so toxic, and that's so unhealthy, and that's what a lot of us do, and we don't even realize it, you know. Um, so I the first night was, oh gosh, it was awful. Having large concentrations of edibles can cause a condition called um oh, what is it called? It's like a THC vomiting. Um, and I can't remember the name of it. Hyperemesis or yeah, it's like a hyperemesis syndrome, cannabis hyperemesis syndrome, and basically people who consume edibles large quantities over time can develop that, and it's you vomit like violently and your stomach hurts and you just feel like I've ever since I started edibles I've always felt like there was like some kind of weird knot in my stomach. Like it heightens the anxiety in your gut. Like I can tell anxiety and depression come from your gut, and they do. They don't. Did you know that it comes from your gut?
Maybe it's because you just taken too much, Chantal. You're just taking too much. Like you take stupid, absolutely stupid amounts of edibles, and you're not thinking about, I'm sitting here walking around with an enlarged heart, a heart murmur. I've had a history of blood clots in my lungs, bad kidneys, a severely enlarged liver. You could possibly have cirrhosis of the liver. Even I don't know. You need to have that checked. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Your liver is responsible for filtering toxins out of the body, and you had a very damaged liver. And there you are just pumping thousands of milligrams of edibles through your body, and you're expecting your poor damaged liver to deal with all that. And you're taking so much in the way of edibles that your stomach is being affected. And still, despite all the pain and discomfort, you just kept taking stupid amounts.
A healthy gut to your brain, the signals, and it's like, you know. Anyway, I'm not organized right now. I feel very scatterbrained. I feel very anxious. I feel raw, nude, like a layer of dead skin has just been peeled away, and I don't know what to do with myself. So I just, please bear with me, guys. This is like my real life, and I'm so not perfect. I'm trying to find my way, and
And how much does anybody want to bet that she is going through all of this and she's sending message after message after message, text after text to Salah saying, "Where are you? I need to talk to you. I need to talk to somebody." Like she's going through it. She's putting herself through it. It's her fault. But she expects him to be there for her and maybe talk to her for hours or text her for hours when she feels anxious, when she feels bad. And all she's doing is annoying the crap out of him. Because maybe he's thinking, like, you came back to Canada and you did this to yourself. You chose to do this. You chose to do all those edibles for so long that now you've got these problems. And then you expect me to be obligated to just be your life coach and sit up with you for hours while you're feeling bad. Maybe you got the jitters or something. I'm sure it's annoying for Salah. You got to know that she's trying to bug the crap out of him with all of this.
um
And here's something you're not understanding about that, Chantal. He's was never a real friend. He never even liked you. So he's not obligated to talk to you. When you left Syria, that was it. He's not obligated to you anymore. So if you're trying to create this damsel in distress signal and pass it over to Salah, expecting him to respond because you're looking for some sort of emotional response to make yourself feel better, like, oh, he really cares about me. No, he really doesn't. All you're doing is annoying the crap out of him.
Yeah. So number one was having to get off those edibles because they're too expensive and they're just really bad for me. Number one, they're really bad for me. And the first night I couldn't sleep. Like, I didn't sleep at all. I was just wide awake, like wired. And it was so awful. It was just like, you feel like you're constantly on edge, trembling. I had to shake. Like, my hands are not steady. Like, I tried painting my toenails yesterday and it went all over. Like, if you look up close, you'll be able to see. So I'm just, taking it day by day. I know that it's just the only thing that can get me through this is a lot of prayer, a lot of reflection, a lot of time and rest. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying not to overwhelm my nervous system right now because it is fried. Hi, baby.
She says that I'm not trying to overwhelm my nervous system. I really need to rest and relax and focus. And yet she keeps coming live when she doesn't have to.
And then I'm going to, I just gave her some catnip too. And then I'm going to, what was I going to say? Oh my gosh. Anyways, okay, so that was day one was awful. Okay, so I didn't sleep. I didn't have an appetite, so I had like maybe an apple and a plantain. I just was listening to my stomach because I didn't want to throw up. So when I have upset stomach, I just, listen to my body. And basically, the second night, I thought I have to sleep. Like, I stayed awake from basically like, early afternoon that first day and then the second night, I didn't feel super tired. I'm like, why am I not tired? I'm not feeling tired. And I knew it was because of the coming off of the edibles. I knew this was normal and what to expect.
And you know what, Chantal? I'm lacking sympathy right now for more than a few reasons. One, because you did this to yourself. Two, because I'm sure this is not the first time this has happened, where you're doing something, you're doing too much, then you run low on money and you can't do as much, or you run completely out. This is not your first time at this rodeo. And you would think that the experience of the first time or even the second time would teach you, don't put yourself in that position again. But you keep doing it because you're out of control. Your habits are out of control and you don't seek out professional help to get them under control so it never happens again. So excuse me if I don't feel sympathy towards you. You were in Syria. You were there for 3 months. You weren't paying rent, but you were still getting paid from YouTube, whatever your paychecks were. So 3 months of living in Syria, not paying rent, you should have had like 12 grand. And then on top of that, the Beezers gave you an additional $10,000. So you came back to Canada with like 22 grand in pocket, unless you gave a good sizable amount to Salah. You did say that. You said that part of the money that you collected from the Beezers went to Salah, but you didn't exactly say how much. So there's no telling how much you gave him. And you committed fraud. You collected money for a certain purpose, and then you lied to people and gave it to other people. That was your choice. But whatever the case may be, you came back to Canada with whatever money in pocket. And what did you do? You did exactly what we knew you would do, what we predicted. That you would come back, be surrounded by all of your vices, and you would go hog wild. And that's exactly what you did. As much as you hate Girl World, saying we're a bunch of haters, I think what you hate the most about Girl World is that we know you so well. We can predict what you're going to do before you do it. Why? Because you do the same things over and over. As much as you hate Girl World, you don't take the proper steps to prove us wrong. Where if we say, yeah, she's going to come back to Canada and get high and do things, you could take your defiant nature and turn it inside out and go, oh, really? Well, let me just prove you wrong and not do those things. You do exactly what we say you're going to do because we know you. We know that your addictions are all on top of you. You're not on top of them. You're not riding the horse. The horse is riding you, and it's riding you hard. Heck, you got a whole team of horses riding you. Each horse is a different addiction. And they're all riding you like a donkey. You got those burdens on your back, and you know they're there, but you don't try to shake them all off. And you can't say is you didn't have the money to do so. You didn't have the time or the energy or the resources. You had everything you needed. You just didn't get rid of them. You let those horses stay on your back, as heavy as they were. You were happy to have them there, treating your addictions like friends that you just couldn't want to get rid of. So, no, I'm sorry, no sympathy for you. When you have people in your audience that they were trying to help you make a fresh start. And you've made a fresh start more than a few times since you've been on YouTube. You broke up with BB and you moved into the villa with Pete's as part of a fresh start. What happened? That all went to hell in a handbasket at light speed. So that fresh start did not work. And then you went to the Middle East to be with Salah. That was supposed to be a fresh start. You were going to be in the Middle East away from your vices. Did that help you get healthy? No, because all you did was dive more into the food since you didn't have the other things. And here we are again. You're back in Canada. You had money for a fresh start. You had all you needed for a fresh start. You went off the rails again. Like, how many chances does life have to give you? You're at the point now where the YouTube faucet has been cut off. Maybe this will stop you. I don't know.
And as the body's healing, and she loves this thing. Where's Fuego? But I did end up falling asleep at like 3 a.m. I slept for 3 hours. I woke up. I couldn't go back to bed. My anxiety was bad. I had a hot shower. And I just cleaned up a bit, went live, did stuff, and then today I woke up and I didn't sleep much at all. I slept maybe 4 hours, but broken, like 2 hours each. So I woke up, had a hot shower, and in the steam of the door, I wrote, "I love me," because I'm trying to work on self-love and stuff. And it might sound corny to a lot of people, but it's not. It's really like fundamentally the key to happiness, I really believe, is within us, and I need to build that up. I need to um I'm just, my health is like paramount right now. That's it. Oh, excuse me, hiccup. My health is just paramount right now. I have so much to work on. Like, I have to first, I'm in the process of reestablishing my healthcare. I need to get a family physician. I need to get a bunch of tests. I need to get back possible hormone replacement therapy. I need to get back on like like certain medications, like maybe blood thinners. I have to see the doctor about that. I have to see, because I was on them before. I have to see a psychiatrist. I have to get psychiatric meds reevaluated. I have to um, find out what kind of supplements as a woman my age I should be taking post menopause.
All of these things that she's talking about, does she need to do them? Absolutely. But considering her state of mind and how much she still talks about Salah, I'm wondering, is this Chantal talking as Chantal, doing this for Chantal? Or is this, I have to do this because I want Salah to still talk to me? I'm still wanting his attention. And maybe he talked to her and said, you have to do all of these things. So is this her having a moment of realization? I have to do all these things and I got to get going to make these things happen. Or is she still focused on a man and pleasing a man, and the man is putting down conditions? I guess we'll find out later.
Post hysterectomy and just with hair loss issues, I need to see a doctor about that. Mental health, my weight. There's so many things I need to deal with that I really don't have time to be bored. you know, like I don't feel bored anymore. Like when I first got here, I was so panicky and like just felt like enclosed in this apartment and I didn't want to be here. Oh my gosh. But now I'm just feeling like I do. Like this is my, I want to be here. I'm starting to be more and more okay with being alone, and it's a comforting feeling. Um and I'm just feeling that every day that I trudge through is going to make me inshallah stronger.
That kitten's so cute.
You're so cute. Oh my gosh. Yes. She's confused because I usually throw here. She's like, what? I was giving it to you. Anyway, the minute I wake up, she gets this hot sauce bag toy I got at the Dollar Tree and she brings it to me. It's so cute. She brings it into the shower. She brings into the dry shower, but she goes and puts it on the shower drain in the morning when I'm in the bathroom before my shower. It's the cutest. So yeah, I'm just going to use Patreon just to talk like this. And I think it's really good to have a platform that I can talk at you guys, because my live streams, I don't feel like I can do that, because that's why I'm always changing subjects and not finishing what I want to say. I'm distracted.
But why are you distracted? It's your live stream. Why can't you sit down and have a conversation kind of like this with people? Why put it on Patreon? Chantal, of all the things that you've done on your channel over the years, all the things that you've shown people, the shocking, disgusting, vulgar things that you've done, there's one singular thing that you've never really given the audience, and that's the truth. Honesty, authenticity, being genuine, being real. For some reason, you'll fart on camera, you'll poop your pants, you'll burp, you'll show parts of your body, you'll show yourself like that. But the one thing you won't show, the one thing you won't give, is honesty, to the truth. You just won't tell the truth. You just won't just be real with yourself. You lock the truth away. The truth should be easy. But for you, it's the hardest thing in the world to share. You'll share your boobs and your snatch and your butt before you share the truth. I just think that's really strange. For most people, the truth is easy. It comes naturally. For you, lying comes naturally. Making up stories comes naturally. Being fake and phony and a fraud comes naturally. And being truthful and real, it's something you can't do. You just have a really hard time with the truth. But why can't you be truthful in your live streams and just, stop the lying?
Not quiet. It's not a quiet space on a live stream, even though there's not really any noise. There's that noise. You know, it's it's not sound, but it's still noise. And um, I, everyone's chatting, and that's great. But when you want to get what you want to say out, and I already have trouble with that, expressing myself in complete thoughts and sentences. Um,
I think it's because you get caught up in being foodie beauty. The truth has to come from Chantal Marie. But the moment you turn that camera on, it's like that persona just takes over. And the persona is fake, it's phony, it's a fraud, it's a personality. You go directly into that personality like somebody else puts on a suit. And part of that personality is lying and embellishing and telling exaggerated stories. Personality can also be truthful.
this is just going to be easier to have somewhere I can just turn the camera on and, you know, talk about stuff.
Why can't you just sit down and do a video as opposed to doing a live stream? Do a video and post it for free and be truthful that way. If you have trouble speaking truth when there are other people in the room talking to you live, why not just do a video being truthful? But don't put it behind a paywall.
And maybe do like little vlogs here and there. I'm going to do videos on here. I'm not going to do live streams on Patreon. So yes, this is just a place for my thoughts. A penny for your thoughts. And I guess I'll conclude this video. So tonight will be night 3. Going but not strong. Going strong. And I just hope everything makes me stronger in the end. You go through a bunch of hard crap and then you come out hoping to come out the other side like, yeah, this was worth it. Anyways, on that happy note, I'm just going to go relax. I'm just so tired. I just want to not think. I just want to just, I had a healthy meal. I had some Greek salad, some chicken, some boiled potato, like some Greek potatoes on the side. And that's pretty much all I had today. I've just been eating kind of I just eat when I'm hungry. Like, that's it. Like, because of my stomach, my hunger is very.
And again, I have to wonder, is this Salah's influence, her eating healthy and stuff? Because Chantal does not like to eat healthy. She rather you pull out her fingernails with pliers before she eats healthy. So is it because Salah told her to eat healthy? I don't know. We'll find out.
Very temperamental, so which is kind of good. I'm just listening to my body right now and just doing what it needs after many years of not doing that TLC, like many years, like my whole life basically, living my life asleep. And but I talk to you with so much motivation in my heart right now, but I know the going is going to get tough, and I hope that I have to keep this mentality, this resilience inside, um, in my frame of thought, because the times are going to be really tough, and there's a lot of tough times coming up. And I'm so exhausted already. I don't know. Like, wow. Like, I guess God thinks highly of me if He thinks I can handle, certain things, certain resiliences. They say that, like, God will only give you what you can handle, kind of thing. I can't handle you. No. And I know I say that like I sound kind of like, privileged, because there's people who go through a million times worse things than what I do. But this is my journey, so I'm going to be talking about myself. And I really, wish everybody well in their journey. I do. And I wish nobody had to suffer in life, but that's why we're trying to deal with it, dealing with the hardships. Try to flow with them instead of avoid them and run from them, because you'll just create more problems for yourself. And that's what I've done the whole time, my whole life. So, inshallah, this will be it. This journey will probably seem more gradual. I don't know if I'm going to be like, I don't know, one of those like take the bull by the horns or whatever, and like just really be like all gung ho, or if it's going to be like, some days I might be motivated like that. Some days I just might be like this and tired and just still trudging through, but not feeling very energetic. So everything has to realign. So that's what we're doing. Anyways, guys, all right. Thank you for listening and for joining my Patreon. I know it's like a lot of platforms and it's.
Well, that was the live stream from Foodie Beauty. I say the real test for her is going to come on Monday or Tuesday because that's her payday. 22nd is her payday. So what a bad time to be withdrawing off of anything. You know, like if she's expecting her paycheck to show up and it doesn't show up, that's going to stress her out on top of, not having access to edibles. That's just gonna be a bad combination all the way around. But we will see. We'll see what happens. I think Tuesday is going to be a very interesting day. I'm going to be keeping an eye on her channels to see if she goes live, does anything, how she's going to be reacting at that time. So that's it for this react. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Thank you very much for being here. And special thanks to Kristen on Twitter, Stuff Case Said. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.